Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. I am your guy, Hector. Like always, I am joined by my brother, Mr. TC Stills. Check out the intro, and we will be right back.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's okay. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat.
Good morning, Yankees universe. Like I said, welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Friday, July 14th. I'm your guy, Hector. Like always, like I said, I'm joined by my brother, Mr. TC Stills. All you Yankee fans out there, wake up and get your coffee. TC, how you feeling, broski?
Great. It's Friday. Let's do it. How you doing?
I'm feeling good, bro. Feeling good. It's Friday, like you said. The Yankees are back as well. It's open panel Friday. You always got to feel some special type of way when it's open panel Friday. And then I got Get Yanked later on today on nyynewstv. So I know I'm gonna have an amazing Friday. TC, are you excited that the Yankees are back?
Yeah, it's been too long. 4 days without baseball. I mean, it's regardless of how they're playing. I still want to see the games, and I miss watching the games, and hopefully this is a better second half. I mean, I don't know. Can it get worse than what they've been putting on the field? I mean, I don't know, but let's just look forward to some better baseball. I mean, cross our fingers.
Oh yeah, definitely. And when it pertains to the New York Yankees, we got to talk about it, right? Because we got some rumors that came out yesterday. Buster Olney pulled out the grenade pin and threw the grenade to Yankee Twitter. But before we get into that, let's do a little bit of the roll call. We got our guy, Mr. Silk Buckets, in the building. Ooh, Silk Buckets, how you doing? We got Truth always in the building. My guy Truth, how you doing? AK-47 is in the building. Big time Jerry Cadell. Jerry, how you doing, my guy? We got NFE in the building. My YouTube pops, Mr. Steve Schumann. Stevie Pooh is in the building. Erdan Sicario is in the building. De La Isla. Sean Browning is in the building. Mr. KC Fun Times in the building. My guy Geo Unpopular Opinion. Hey yo, Pop, how you doing, my guy? Who else we got here? Mr. Dane Huber. Make sure you guys check out our guys, Dane and Carlos. They do amazing work when it comes to the Farm Report. Yes, same way, make sure you check out our guys on our channel, Sandy and Julian. They do an amazing job when it comes to the pipe and covering the Yankees farm system. So shout out to both shows. Yeah, definitely a good show with my guy Dane. Alex Valerio is in the building. Alex, how you doing? We got our guy Jonathan's in the building. Jonathan, how you doing? Alan Landsman's in the building. What is good, Alan? Mr. Frank Rivera. Hey, yo, Frankie, how you doing? We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Of course, L.I. Yankee King is here. We are sitting at, what happened?
Don't forget your guy, our guy, Jiggaman Porto.
Oh, of course. I can't forget my brother, Mr. Jiggaman Porto. I definitely can't. Mr. How you doing? How you feeling? My guy, Jiggaman Porto. Can't forget my guy. Also, appreciate everybody for showing us all the love and support. We are sitting at 920 subscribers. We are literally 80 away from that magical number of 1K. We got 29 people in the building. If you guys can, smack that like button. Let's try to run up the likes. Yesterday video, we got 70 likes on that live. Let's try to match that same energy, and let's do it back to back. Let's get 70 likes on this one right now. So if you guys can, smack that like button. But like I said, Buster Olney came out yesterday, and he pulled the grenade pin, and he threw the grenade to Yankees Twitter. According to Buster Olney, the Yankees are the most motivated to deal Mr. Shohei Ohtani. Do we believe that this man on the screen, Shohei Ohtani, will he be in the Bronx by the time the trade deadline comes and goes? TC, what's your thoughts?
Well, that's the key thing. He says the Yankees are the most motivated, not the most likely to get Shohei Ohtani. You know, there's different ways to look at this. The first way is he's a rental. He's going to be a rental. And do you want to unload all your top prospects for a guy that's going to play half the season? And again, we've said it over and over. Where do we put him? He's a DH. We have Giancarlo Stanton. Yeah, he pitches every fifth day, but do we trust Stanton out in the outfield every day when Shohei's DH? I mean, it sounds like a great idea. Judge, when Judge comes back, him and back to back. I mean, it sounds great. It sounds like a dream. I mean, the fans would go crazy. The sales of the tickets and the merchandise and everything. But honestly, and the Yankees usually go after guys that have control. They have no control of Shohei. He's just a rental, like I said.
Yeah,
I just don't see this happening. This is just like you said, just a grenade in the throw it out there to Yankee land going crazy about it, and something to talk about while there's a break.
For me, I see what you're saying, TC. I definitely do. And yesterday I was in agreement with you, but over the last 24 hours, not even 24 hours, over the last few hours since this came out, I've been marinating with this idea. And when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, there's one thing that we have to point out and recognize. Shohei Ohtani is probably one of, if not the greatest player to ever play this sport. This type of talent, once in a generation, a lifetime talent, it doesn't come available more often than not, right? So when you have the chance to jump on Shohei Ohtani, and yes, like you said, he's going to be a rental for the next 3 months, right? You have to try to entice him to stay with the Yankees, right? Sean Browning brings up the Mariners, and that's a great point because Shohei Ohtani, he's admitted he grew up a Ichiro fan. He grew up a Mariners fan, so he has a connection with that organization because that's the team he was rooting for growing up because of Ichiro Suzuki. But if you're able to bring him over to the Bronx and win him over these next 3 months, you got to try to do it because, like I said, Shohei Ohtani is probably one of the best, if not the best player to ever play this sport that we talk about when it comes to Major League Baseball. When you get enticed, when you're the Seattle Mariners, the only thing you can offer Shohei Ohtani is money. When you're the New York Mets, you can offer Shohei Ohtani money and you can offer Shohei Ohtani legacy. If Shohei Ohtani wins in New York with the Mets, that would be better and greater than winning with the Seattle Mariners, right? If Shohei Ohtani comes to the Bronx, you can entice him with being in the conversations like of Babe Ruth, being in the conversations with Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig. The San Francisco Giants, they offered Aaron Judge more money. I mean, the San Diego Padres offered Aaron Judge more money. He stood with the Yankees. Why? Because it's the Yankees. It's the legacy. It's the captainship. You win a championship with the Yankees, you're going to be remembered all the time. You go to the postseason with the Padres for a couple of seasons, that's it. You become a cliff note in history. I love Tony Gwynn, but Tony Gwynn, he's not immortalized like some people would think he should be immortalized when it comes to this game of baseball. So it's more than just money. It's about your legacy. Now, what does Shohei Ohtani want his legacy to be? Does he want his legacy to be attached to the LA Angels, who hasn't even been to the postseason with him? Probably won't make the postseason this year. Does he want to be attached to the Seattle Mariners trying to make the postseason? Or does he want to attach himself to the New York Mets or the New York Yankees, who will add that extra legacy to your career? It's something to think about. Now, do I trust Brian Cashman and this front office to get the job done? Absolutely not. I have little little faith that Brian Cashman will make the move to get Shohei Ohtani. But when you take a step back, right? Not Clint Frazier, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, those are guys that we missed out because Brian Cashman thought he had prospects on the come up. He thought in several years he was going to have to pay Miguel Andujar. He thought in several years he was going to have to pay Clint Frazier. Right now, he's learned from his prior. He should have learned from his prior mistakes when it comes to those situations. You can't let Shohei Ohtani walk. You just can't let him go. If there's a way that you could get Shohei Ohtani, you do it. And apparently when it comes to the LA Angels, there was a report that came out yesterday that said that the Angels, they want pitching prospects that are further down the line. So you can offer up a Chase Hampton. You could offer up some of our pitching prospects that may be something special within 5 years. What's your thoughts on that, TC?
I don't know. You make kind of a good case, but I mean, this isn't a good fit for the team in the future. And we talked about it before. I don't think Shohei is going to last pitching and hitting for the next 7-8 years. I'm gonna say 3 to 4 tops. I mean, he's 29 years old. He's going to demand $600 million probably for 8 years, 9 years. It'll just hamstring our team, and he doesn't help our outfield. We need an outfielder, and we need to get younger. I mean, there's a lot to like about Shohei, and also I don't think the Angels are going to unload him. I really don't. They're going to try. They're going to try to keep him. If they unload him, and they have an aging Trout, they're going to have nobody. Nobody's going to go to their game. They're going to end up being like the Oakland A's. I mean, because I live out here and I see it. There's no fan base. It's gone. Other than they just come to see him. So, for the Yankees, I just don't see this. This is just. I think they just hype this up, get everybody interested, get people to overpay for them. And when the Yankees are involved, it drives the price up, and it just gets more attention on the guy. And
definitely does.
I mean, if I'm going to compare him to Soto, I'm doing Soto. I'm getting Soto in here. He's left-handed hitter. He's younger. He plays the outfield. I mean, he's not going to command as much money. I mean, you will need a lot to land the Soto for multiple years, but. Again, and also if we have Ohtani, what do we do with Stanton? Do we unload Stanton? I mean, there's multiple moves we would have to do with getting a Shohei Ohtani, and I don't think that's going to set us up for a good future later on.
I'm just rattle off some names real quick. All right, Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and Shohei Ohtani. Those are your 1, 2, and 3 starters in the postseason. That don't tickle your fancy?
That's for a year? Just for this year?
Not just this year. Because if the Yankees are able to entice him to want to stay in the Bronx, just think about it, right? Let's just think about these next 3 years, these next 3 seasons, right? Or next 4 or 5 seasons, right? Because that's you're trying to optimize. That's Garrett Cole's window, that's Carlos Rodon's window, and that's Shohei Ohtani's window, all in the same span. So you just got to just think about it. Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and Shohei Ohtani as your 1, 2, and 3 starting rotation.
That sounds great, but what kind of team do we have around him? I mean, we put $300 million on the field, and look at what we're look at what's out there playing. We get a Shohei Ohtani, paying him probably $45 to $50 million a year. We're gonna have a bunch of. You said
Willie 50
Calhoun.
million? You said 50. You said 50 million, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say it at 50 million, right? We've had these conversations before.
Yeah.
Before we do that, shout out to the chat. I seen my brother Pete Seminetti jumped into the chat. I appreciate you, Pete. I got my guy NYY News. Ruben is in the building. Jimmy Mathers is in the building. Damian Serrano, my guy Damian. I saw you guys on Uncle Tat's open panel. Shout out to Uncle Tat's and everybody over there. Mr. E. Brunson is in the building. Brunson, how you doing? Mr. 161 himself, Jason, how you doing? Infamous New
Jason?
King, what it do? Salute, 3 capital S's. I'm going to say this once and I'm going to say it once only. We got 37 people in the building. If you guys can't smack it, the like button, like my brother Pete Seminetti always says, just smack of it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything just to smack that like button. 37 people in the building. Let's try to run up the likes right now. Now, you bring up 50 million, right? So let's just talk about 50 million. Okay. Luis Severino, 15 million. It's coming off of the books, right? Frankie Montas, 7 million is coming off of the books. That's 22 million right there. Josh Donaldson's 25 million with the 6 million buyout for next year. That's 19 million, right? So we can add that together. That's 40 million right there, right? Gleyber Torres's, if we could move off of Gleyber Torres' contract, that frees up 10 million right there. That's 50 million right there. That's Shohei Ohtani, Severino, Donaldson, and Gleyber Torres, and throw in Frankie Montas as well. Those 4 players and their salary equals up to the 50 to 60 million dollars we would have to spend for Shohei Ohtani. Now, would you trade or would you move off of those 4 guys for Shohei Ohtani?
I would, but who am I going to have out there now? Who's my third baseman? Who's my second baseman? We're going to have bargain baseman players?
We'll get that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's baby steps. It's baby steps, TC. We got to get to that. We got to crawl before we can walk.
I want a team that's equal. I don't want to have a superstar pitcher and then, a bunch of bums out in the outfield. I mean, that's it doesn't work.
Harrison Bader's not a bum. Harrison Bader's not a bum.
We got one right now. We got one good outfielder. Judge is out. We can't find a left fielder. Bums at third. Bums at second. So I mean, it sounds great. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, Ohtani and Cole and Rodon. That sounds terrific. But what does it look like next year? What does it look like 4 or 5 years down the road? Does that restrict us from
4 or 5 years down the road when our payroll's $160 million? We have $100 million coming off of the payroll within the next 2 or 3 years. We can't build a team with $100 million to play with.
And don't forget, we got 25 million from the Star Insurance.
We got 25 million from the Star Insurance, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to other options like a Cody Bellinger, look at what we gave up for Andrew Benintendi. It will be the same type of deal. Andrew Benintendi, when he was on the Kansas City Royals, he was leading the American League in batting average. And we traded low-level prospects for a guy who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So if we're able to pull off a trade for Shohei Ohtani and then pull off a trade for Cody Bellinger, we have Cody Bellinger on left field. We got Shohei Ohtani to be our DH, and we got Giancarlo Stanton and his $30 million coming off of the bench.
Yeah,
Ooh, you thought about it.
Yeah,
you thought about it just now.
I thought about it, but that's you and me thinking, and you more than me. But Cashman and the Yankees, I don't see them doing this type of stuff. They don't think this way.
When there's a player that the Yankees want and they target, they go out there and they get it when they want him. They wanted Garrett Cole for years. They were never able to get him. They went out there and got him. They wanted Carlos Rodon. They went out there and got him. They wanted to re-sign Aaron Judge. They went out there and got him. They had Giancarlo Stanton gifted to them. Yeah. They went out there and got him.
Most of those guys you mentioned were free agents. This Ohtani's you're gonna unload all these players for him for who knows, for just maybe 3 months. I don't know. You got 3 months to entice it and to entice him to stay. You got that 3 months window. Now listen, do I want to give up all my prospects and Shohei Ohtani signs with the Mets? No, I don't want to do that. Right? Yeah. Do I have faith that this front office can make the deal happen to bring in Shohei Ohtani? No, I don't. Am I in love with the idea of having Shohei Ohtani in this lineup? Yes, I'm in love with the idea of having Shohei Ohtani in this lineup. Reality sets in, and it makes me realize that there's hardly any way that we can make this happen. But it's a good conversation starter because, like you said, whenever the Yankees are involved, it brings up the price. It drives up the price for a player. Whenever the Yankees are connected to it whatsoever, ultimately, I think that he will wind up with either the Dodgers,
the Mets, or the Mariners. I think the Yankees are in there because right now the Angels are trying to drive up the asking price because the Mets, they're not going to trade for him right now because they don't want to give up all their prospects.
No,
right?
There's no way.
There's no way. The Dodgers, they're stuck right now because a lot of their starting pitching is hurt. And what do the Angels want? They want high-end pitching prospects, and the Dodgers are in a tough spot right now that they
there's
can't
no
give
way
up their
Artie
pitching
Moreno
prospects.
is going to trade to the Dodgers. That's never. That will never happen. He has to wait till offseason. So there's no way there's going to be a trade with the Dodgers. I'll tell you that right now.
So they will have to wait till he's a free agent, right? But one thing I want to bring up is that we hear the rumblings that the Yankees are preparing for a big move. My guy Keith McPherson from WFAN was on Twitter. He said, yeah, I've seen this episode before. Biggest name in the sport, Ohtani the player, Yankees the team. Start with them and any rumor or any conversation. You drive up the asking price, you get others involved, bargain and trip, etc., etc. Can't have a bidding war without the 27 world time champion New York Yankees. And he's absolutely right, because you just said it, right? When that dropped from Buster Olney, at first I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about. But then I remember, as a Knicks fan, Nick for clicks. Everybody brings up the Knicks just so they can get the clicks. And when it comes to the Yankees, it's the same thing. You involve the Yankees on the conversation. For one, you're driving up the asking price. And two, it's a national story. There's nothing going on right now in baseball, and you need the traction. So what did Buster Olney do? Like I said, he pulled the pin from the grenade and he threw the grenade onto Twitter. And that's what happened yesterday. Like I said, do I have faith? Do I believe that this front office will get Shohei Ohtani? Absolutely not. Is it a nice conversation to have? Do you salivate at the thought of having Shohei Ohtani? You absolutely do. But TC, when it comes to it, the rumors and everything, we have to believe that this front office, they're gearing up for something. What do you think it is?
I mean, you make good points about Ohtani. I hope it's someone like that, Ohtani or Soto, or somebody that's it's a big splash and moves the needle for this team, because they're on life support and they need something to kickstart the second half. And honestly, if they just keep doing these bargain basement trade deadline deals, that's not gonna be sufficient for the fans. They're gonna be screaming on the rooftops. Like, what are we doing here? This isn't World Series caliber team. A World Series caliber team is going out there and making the team better for this year, because the window, you keep saying it, is closing quickly.
Oh yeah, it is.
They need to do something immediately, because you can't give up on a season. You can't punt the season and tank. The Yankees aren't that type of team, and they very rarely sell. So they're putting pieces in place for something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It could be just a Bellinger. I just hope it's something like a Soto or Ohtani. I mean, that's our dream. So I mean, that will set us up at least for this year. This year, I mean, especially if Aaron Judge comes back, man, would that be awesome?
When you look at it, right, the Yankees, and my guy Pete brings it up. There's one player that the Yankees need. His name is Juan Soto, right? My guy Factual MLB on Twitter pointed out that among the trade rumors, top Yankee prospect Everson Pereira, he has unfollowed the Yankees on their Instagram and all other social media platforms. Everson Pereira is one of those prospects that's been linked in a trade for the San Diego Padres. Now, I know when it comes to social media, people unfollow and follow and stories come up or whatever. I don't know how much weight to put into this, but when you have the conversations of the farm system, and someone brought it up, Jonathan, the Yankees don't have an exciting farm system. I just want to bring something up. I'm going to put it on the screen right now so everybody can see it. Let me remove that, and I'm going to bring this up. What you're looking at on the screen is the war by organizations from 2020 to 2023. This is players that were drafted by organizations and their wins above replacements. Look at the New York Yankees in last place In last place, the New York Yankees. Look at them. Look at them, pitiful behind the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah,
Houston Astros is number 1. New York Mets is number 2. Miami Marlins is number 3. The New York Yankees are last when it comes to players that were drafted by your organization and their wins above replacements from 2010 to 2023. The one thing that this organization does not do well is draft and develop players. Aaron Judge literally landed in our lap because he was a walk-on at a community college and nobody thought he was going to pan out. That's how Aaron Judge fell into our laps. When it comes to this organization, I've said this so many different times, right? And I've asked you guys, can you guys name me one player over the past 30 years since Brian Cashman's been running the ship that you could say that he drafted, he developed that starting pitcher, and that starting pitcher was our ace for about 5 seasons? Can you name a starting pitcher? You can't. You can't. The only position player that you can say that Brian Cashman drafted and developed and was our star player for 5 years, the only position player that you can say that is Aaron Judge. Robinson Cano, we ain't drafting. That was an international free agent signing.
I was going to say.
So when you talk about players drafted by an organization and developed by an organization, the only player that we can point to over the past 30 years that we can say that was our star for about 5 years has been Aaron Judge. 30 years.
Very sad.
That's my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. They I mean I've been saying it for a while now. There's no longer need to keep
No, but D-Rod, that's why I specified it. Was Gardner our star player? He was a solid player.
Yeah, he wasn't
borderline all-star for one season. I wouldn't
him,
say he was a star. I wouldn't say that Brett Gardner is the player that you build around. If you're having a fantasy draft right now and you get the best version of Brett Gardner, are you taking the best version of Brett Gardner as your number 1 player in a fantasy draft? No, I think not.
No,
A guy Pete said, funny thing is some of our draft picks have had success outside of our organization. That's a fact, Pete. Go ahead, TC.
100%.
Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
No, I mean he says it right there. Pete knows his stuff. I mean these prospects, we don't develop any prospects anymore, and there's no need to keep these guys hanging around. Yeah, we keep yelling and yelling and yelling for them to bring up Peraza, bring up Florio. They don't. And when they do, they give them 2-3 at bats, send them back down. They don't know how to handle these guys. And these guys, Peraza's a number 1, number 2 prospect. What are you doing? So I don't have any faith in any of this development that's going on in the Yankee farm system. Get rid of them.
You see it right here, Jacob. Jacob, you see my vein popping out my neck right here, Jacob. Go ahead, TC. I'm sorry, my fault.
Yeah, I mean, move on. These other teams are developing these star players. Bring in the Soto, bring in Ohtani, unload the farm. I mean, as much as, I know Dane and the Pipe, and they love to, talk about all these guys. It's unfortunate that they probably won't amount to anything. And it's time to, move them out and get some guys that are actually going to be stars like Aaron Judge. Because I don't think any of our prospects will ever be that.
Now I'm gonna put the link for the open panel out in about like 10-15 minutes, right? But before I do that, I sent the link over to one of our guys first so he could come in, join in the conversation before everyone else. I'm gonna bring up my guy, Mr. Unpopular Opinion. Pop, how you feeling, brother?
What's going on? Yo, sorry I'm late. I've been spending 28 minutes trying to figure out how to get my camera to sync with StreamYard right now, so I apologize for my time.
Listen, all good, brother. All good, brother. We here, bro. We here. D-Rod, my man, I appreciate you, brother. Salute to you. But no, Pop, you've been hearing the conversation so far. What's your thoughts with what we're having about Shohei, about the organization? We're about to get into the Hal and Cashman, but what's your thoughts so far? We'll be talking about.
The Shohei thing is interesting. Like, I get it. Boss Olney, big names, you're trying to create some clickbait and, but I don't really think that is a possibility. It logistically is too much going on to make that deal work. Just clogging up the DH with Stanton. If Judge returns with the big toe, he's probably going to need a DH a lot. So where are you going to put Shohei? And then, of course, it comes down to the package, right? What is the Angels going to realistically ask for a two-way player? So you're essentially trading for two players, a pitcher and a hitter. So that package is bigger than, say, a Juan Soto package or Cody Bellinger or whoever else the Yankees might be interested in getting. So it's going to cost a haul to get him, and it just doesn't really make sense or feasible in my eyes that, Shohei will land in New York. And to be honest, I don't think he would be happy here if he would come here, for that half a season. Yes, maybe
people can play here.
Yeah, and, maybe the playoff atmosphere might entice him to say, okay, maybe I want to go to a contender. But a lot of people reported that he doesn't like to talk to the media. He doesn't like, cameras in his face. He, that's one of the reasons why he decided a more low-key West Coast team where he can kind of acclimate to the MLB. So to me, it just doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah, and the Yankees, we already did this dance with Shohei Ohtani, and he passed up on us. He passed up on us, like you said, Pop, for the West Coast. He want to go to the West Coast. But before we continue, I got somebody else backstage I want to bring up, right? My brother. But before I do that, shout out to my guy, Mr. Rod Thompson. Salute to Rod. Hope all is well. Hope the newborn baby is doing well as well. So I'm going to bring up my guy, my brother, Mr. Pete Seminetti. Petey boy, how you doing, bro?
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Yes.
You came in on the conversation at the tail end of the Shohei Ohtani convo. I know you and we have been pushing hard for Juan Soto. When it comes to what Buster Olney dropped yesterday and these rumors of Juan Soto, where are you putting your money? If you have to put a bet down that one of these guys is going to be a Yankee, who are you putting your money down for?
Yeah, I'm still going Soto. And I honestly, I hate saying it, but I'll probably go more via free agency. I don't know if he's going to be traded. There's no guarantee of that. But the Ohtani stuff to me is just tough because I did a video about it yesterday. And like after I was done listening to it, I just stared at the screen because I was like, come on, like really, like, we're going to do this for real. Like, I just got to stay here and stare at the screen for a minute. But I think if he does become available, the thing that's going to happen, though, somebody's going to knock their socks off. And I don't think it's going to be the Yankees. It could be. It could be because, there was the rumor last year that the Yankees offered a Volpe and a few other guys for him, and it didn't work out. So I don't know if the Yankees go out there and go, hey, he adds the hitting, he adds the pitching. And Hector, I was listening to you. You brought up all valid points, right? Who wouldn't want to go into a postseason and go, we got Cole, Rodon, and Shohei, or however you want to go about that. I guess the concern, again, just goes to, I believe if that did happen, that means Judge is out for the year. I don't know if the Yankees are going to be willing to say, we'll offer up what it's going to take, knowing that Judge is likely coming back. The reality of the whole situation is both of these guys, the reason why we want them is because, one, we're smart fans, and two, it makes all the sense in the world. The reason why I say a smart fan is we're seeing it also for the business aspect, right? It's a genius business move. One, the Asian market is very prevalent in New York, and the Dominican market is very prevalent in New York. And both of these guys are absolute studs and superstars. They're both very marketable. They got great smiles. They're generational talent. You could put them on any magazine, any billboard, Times Square, whatever you want to do. They can do all of that, and they're young. Soto's much younger, but they're both very young. I do agree with unpopular opinion a little bit. I have a little bit of concern about Ohtani in New York, to be honest. He's kind of shied away from it a little bit, and I know he came out recently and was like, yeah, I love playing here. Of course you're going to say that. You're about to be the biggest free agent of all time. He didn't want to come here originally. Originally, he was like, no to the Yankees, did everything they could to get him. He was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go to the East Coast. So I still have that stuff in mind. I do have to jump off because I got a little spaghetti on the stove. I want to make sure.
All good, baby.
It's not al dente. I got to throw it out. I can't do that.
That's right.
I do want to bring this up because I know you guys are going to get into the trade conversation. We do love the sexy name, but you got to remember, we can be creative and win. But can Brian Cashman be that guy? That's the question we've asked for a long time. Is Bellinger a good option? Yeah, Bellinger's a nice option. But the team I look at is the St. Louis Cardinals. They're open for business. There's a lot of really good names there. We know the big name, right? Arenado. Can that be a possibility? Maybe. 2 names I'll say. Lars Nootbaar, 1. The other one, Brendan Donovan. That kid could hit from the left side with the best of them and would fit the Yankees offense very, very good.
Hey, listen, I love the conversations, love those names. Pete, my guy, make sure you get to your noodles. You got to make sure they authentic, all right, my guy? Make sure. And what do you have it on the side? Are you having some veal chops, some chicken parmesan, some sauce?
Veal parm.
Okay.
Veal parm.
All right.
We had a little sausage with it today, and we're gonna
some peppers too, or are you doing the sausages raw dog?
Straight sausage, right in the gravy, ready to rock and roll.
Okay,
and
you
call it gravy, okay?
Raw dog in life with no peppers. I see you, Pete. I love you, bro. Just know that.
Make sure you check out Game Season Live tonight. Pete's back.
Yes, make sure you check out Game Season Live.
Get yanked. 4
Get
o'clock.
yanked. Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
That's
Pete, my
guy
brother.
right
Love you, bro.
I'll talk to you later.
That was our guy, Mr. Pete Seminetti, jumping on for a few. I'll throw out the link to the open panel so we can get everybody involved on the conversation. But we're going to set it up like this, right? Because Pete set it up perfect. Will Hal Steinbrenner step up and force Cashman's hand? You guys see on the screen, I brought up my guy, Mr. L.I. Yankee King. L.I. Yankee King, he said this. If I was the Yankees GM, thank you so much, Pop. If I was the Yankees GM, Brian Cashman and I just hired the new hitting coach via Aaron Boone and Sean Casey. I will give him a retooled offense that is more dynamic than that garbage that is currently on the field when it comes to our team. When it comes to that, LI, no one could disagree with that, right? If you are Brian Cashman in this front office, you got to do whatever you can to, 1, retool the offense, and 2, if you're hiring a new hitting coach, you got to give him some new tools to play with. Pop, I'm gonna start with you. Get your thought, throw it over to TC, and then we'll put the link out for the open panel so everybody can join the convo. Go ahead, Pop.
I mean, I don't know what Hal can do besides firing Brian Cashman to make Cashman motivated to go ahead and retool this offense. Like, he's designed this way. He is stubborn in his ways of thinking, of saying, these guys are eventually going to go ahead and produce. His idea of banking on guys that are, been there, done that. It could work if you have a balance. If you have a balance of some veteran hitters and some young guys and get that energy and that good mix going. But he just puts all his eggs in baskets in too many veterans and reclamation projects for me to believe that anything besides him being threatened of his job is going to motivate him to do anything. Sean Casey, I'm just excited to see what he can bring to some of the younger guys. The Gleyber Torreses, the Anthony Volpes, even the Willie Calhouns, the Bowers, like those younger guys, to kind of see if we can unlock certain things that the Yankees quote unquote see with the numbers. But I don't have much faith, just like everyone here said, and I don't think he's going to retool that much if it's not a big name attached to it.
Yeah, go TC. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd love for Hal to force Brian Cashman to fire himself. That's what I would like. But yeah, I agree with Pop. I mean, the moves that he makes are, these reclamation projects and these, over the hill veterans. He's got to look at, some of these younger guys that we bring up. I mean, Pete brings up a couple guys, Nootbaar and Donovan make a lot of sense. But that's common sense. The Yankees don't have common sense, and Cashman tries to be the smartest guy in the room. He's pulling things out of left field. I don't know where he comes up with these deals. Guys that I think he looks at all the guys that are about to get Tommy John surgery, and he says, "Yeah, I'll take him, and I'll take him." It just is very frustrating the way he goes about things. Just seeing these bizarre moves, and it's just I don't know. Hopefully he's learned from his mistakes, and he's got these guys, Sabian and Minaya around. I mean, toss some things around with these guys. Get some input, because I mean his deals aren't cutting it, and Hal should demand change. He should demand some results.
Yeah, because
we're not seeing it. The last 4 or 5 years has been just awful. I mean,
this is when George. I mean, this is when Hal needs to look at his wrist, and you know that wristband. What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
He needs to have one on his wristband that said, "What would George do? What would my father do in this instance?" Right? Because right now, this is when we need Hal to channel his version of George Steinbrenner as much as he can. We need you to put the pressure on Brian Cashman ASAP. And I got to say something also. We got 40 people in the building. If you guys can, smack that like button. And also, you guys in the chat, you guys are making me hungry. I know after this show, I'm going to have to go down the block to this Dominican spot on Broadway, get me some espagueti and white rice, because you guys are making me so hungry just looking at that chat. But before we continue, I'm going to throw the link in for the open panel. That way we can get everybody involved on the conversation. Like always, when you guys come up for the open panel, let's be respectful for the YouTube terms and services as well as Twitter terms and services. Guys, please be respectful to one another. If somebody is in the middle of giving their take, let them finish and let them have their moment, because you will be given the same time to finish your take. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now so people can join up for the conversation. Before we jump into that, TC.
Yeah.
DJ LeMahieu. He turned 35 years old yesterday. Shout out to DJ LeMahieu for turning 35 years old.
Happy birthday, Deej.
Happy birthday, DJ LeMahieu. Over and under. Is DJ LeMahieu going to be with this team in September? I'm going to start with you and then throw it over to Pop. And we got people that's jumped already backstage, and we bringing everybody up as the way that they jumped on backstage. So I'm throwing it over to you, TC.
Will he be with this team in September?
In September, October, will he be with this team?
I'm gonna say yeah. He'll still be here. He's on thin ice, but yeah, we got him for another three more years, 4 more years.
It feels like forever the way that things is going out right now.
You know, my gut says he'll still be here. I mean, he's still an intricate part of this team. Sean Casey could maybe find something out and you know, tweak something, because he can't have, you know, fallen off this bad. There's either an injury there, or, you know, I've been saying lighter bat, something, get some glasses, contacts. There's just something. He's not this bad. So I think he'll be here.
Pop, same question going to you. Will DJ LeMahieu be here when September and October comes around?
So I'm gonna use a song to say this. So my body's telling me no. He'll be here, man. Like his mind, like in my mind, like the Yankees are not gonna let go of him with that many years left on his contract. You know, Pete and a few other people bring up interesting trade scenarios that, you know, if you're gonna take like an Arenado to get a contract, to give a contract, you know, you might, you know, swap a DJ, but the odds of that happening are probably low. So yeah, I'll go with the over. He'll be here.
Copy. Now, when it comes to Josh Donaldson, and this is why I open it up to the panel, Josh Donaldson, we could say that I think he's played 152 games with the Yankees so far in his career. I think we all can admit that it's a bit over for Josh Donaldson. He doesn't have it anymore. Yes, he may have a little bit of bat speed there. He has 10 home runs. So if you extrapolate that for 162 games, that does equal out to about like 38 home runs, but it also equals out to about like 20 singles as well. So I don't know how much weight you want to put into that. So I'm gonna bring up everybody as they showed up backstage. I'm gonna bring up my guy Ruben first. Ruben, I saw you was backstage eating. Give me a thumbs up if I could bring you back. If I could bring you up. All right, I'll bring my guy Ruben. Mr. Ruben numero uno's in the building. Ruben,
what
man?
Chilling, bro. How you feeling, Ruben?
Yeah, me laughing there with the 20 singles there, bro.
You know it's true.
Yeah.
Ruben,
for real, bro.
You've been hearing a conversation, Buster Olney yesterday, the Juan Soto rumors. Where are you at right now as a Yankee fan? I know you take deep dives when it comes to like the numbers and getting the extra stats that some of us can't get. So where are you sitting right now when it comes to those two guys, and who are you leaning more towards, or if you're leaning in any of their ways? Go ahead, Drew.
I'll lean towards Soto first. Like, that's my first option. He's younger. He's an easier fit. He fits like a glove in a sense. You know what I mean? Like there's really you don't have to really adjust crazy for him. He can play either left or right field depending on how you want to do the defensive lineup. Now, if we went for Ohtani, I just have a problem giving up crazy prospects for a rental.
Mhm.
If this was like a year and a half of Ohtani, then okay, I can give up something, but I'm not gonna overpay, and knowing the Angels, they'll probably do the New York tax. So I'm not gonna pay the New York price. You know what I mean? Because our price is also different from other teams as well. Like I think they're gonna try to get the most out of us. Even though we haven't developed players in the draft, basically. I mean, we've gotten better at it as time has gone on. And it's all about now, like, okay, can we continue the development in the majors? But going back to Ohtani, the only way you can fit him is, and Pete mentioned it yesterday, I've been saying it for months now, play stand in the outfield. He's going to get hurt regardless.
Yeah.
No importa if it's on the bench, taking 4 bats on the bench, or if he's playing the outfield. If anything, he stays looser when he's on the outfield and he hits. So I'd rather have 100 games of Stanton where he's actually hitting rather than having the DH Stanton play 100 games and then not hit. So, and I was just telling him, hey, go play the outfield. When you're sore, you can't play, let us know. We'll sit you. That's it.
Yeah.
And have him hit 260, 270. You know what I mean?
Gotta get creative with it. At this point, you just gotta get creative with it. And if he hurts himself, the insurance money would picks it up. Ruben, you know that more.
Yeah, it's an IL stent regardless. And plus, the insurance money's already been paid with the Star Insurance.
Exactly. We already got the Star Insurance to pick that up. And we all know every season, Giancarlo Stanton, he scheduled his IL going on the IL with his vacations as well during the season. So we all know this, right?
Don't forget, and when Judge comes back, he might have to be the DH too. So we don't.
Yeah, that opens up DH. But if Judge is mobile enough, I mean, you could have Stanton in left or right, whatever you want to do. I mean, I would leave Judge in right field just to preserve the toe versus left field, and then just tell Stanton, hey, you're at your own. Just do your thing.
I know, Judge and left. Stanton and left, it scares me.
I want to ask you just this one question, Ruben, before I bring up the other people for the open panel. When it comes to Stanton, right, and Ohtani, just a hypothetical, right? Say like if the Yankees, we know they never play like 7 games in a week on a consistent basis, but I'm gonna just use this as just a conversation starter, right? So if the Yankees have 7 games in 1 week, right, we can DH Giancarlo Stanton the days that Shohei Ohtani pitched, because I'm not sure if the Yankees want Ohtani pitching and hitting in the same lineup at the same time or in the same game. So
you wouldn't be able to.
You have Ohtani pitch and you can have Giancarlo Stanton DH on those days, right?
If you want Ohtani to stay, no, because Ohtani likes to hit when he pitches.
Yeah.
So that gives up the DH. So if you're putting Stanton at the DH, that means you're telling Ohtani you ain't hitting.
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything possible. If I'm trading for Ohtani, ¿qué tú quieres, papi? I'll give it to you. You want to play every day? You want to be in the lineup? You want to pitch and hit? Go for it. Do what you got to do. Do you. Stanton goes on the bench or he's in the outfield. That's it.
Nah, I feel you. Just hold on right there, Ruben. I want to start bringing up other people for the open panel. I'm going to bring up some guy it's a guy that's always in the chat, but this is the first time or one of the first times he jumped on the open panel. I'm going to bring up my guy, Mr. D-Rod in the building. D-Rod.
Man, how are you? Wow. First time. But hey, nice to meet you, camera to camera. I appreciate it, guys. Good to see you.
I appreciate you, D-Rod, taking time jumping on the open panel. First time on the open panel. I know you've been listening to the conversation. You've been in the chat almost like every show. What's your thoughts on the conversation of Ohtani or Juan Soto? Who are you leaning more towards, D-Rod?
I mean, definitely Soto. I mean, everything Ruben said, I really, like 99.9 what he said, I completely agree with. The tough part with Stanton real quick is that, he hits better when he's on the outfield, but then he's higher risk of getting hurt. So, it's a dichotomy there. Ohtani, I think I mentioned in the chat that, I think, he's, Japanese, respectful and, all that kind of good stuff. And, but I think deep down, he's a diva. Doesn't talk to the media. He's got to play this. He's got to do that. I think deep down and on the West Coast, they, because it's Hollywood, especially in California, over there, divas are okay to, they can sort of sustain. In New York, we don't, divas are a 4-letter word, literally and figuratively. We're not going to deal with that. Right.
Facts.
So, I think, Soto, again, I don't want to repeat what Ruben said, but I completely agree with everything he said. Play him in left, play him in right.
Mm-hmm.
He fits in. He's a moneymaker. Maybe I would say, in terms of money and marketing, I think Ohtani and Soto are about the same. I think it's just a different, of course, different markets, but I think it's just in terms of dollars, it's the same thing. And Ruben, you stole my line about the star insurance, man. You killed me. I was like, man, got me first.
My bad, bro. My bad.
No, you good. That was great. Fantastic.
When talking about the market, that's why I keep bringing it up, right? If the Yankees, even if they were to trade for Juan Soto, I don't think Juan Soto would want to sit down with the Yankees and negotiate a contract extension without seeing what Shohei Ohtani gets, right? Because Aaron Judge, like I said, he's the bottom. Shohei Ohtani is the ceiling. Juan Soto wants to be in the middle. Juan Soto's agent knows he's not going to come close to whatever Shohei Ohtani gets because Ohtani's a pitcher and a hitter, but he knows Judge is this, I'm 24, so put me right in the middle of whatever Shohei gets and whatever Judge got. I think that's the route that his agent needs to go. And also, like D-Rod said, we don't got time in New York City to deal with divas. I got to transfer the 3 goddamn trains to get to work. You think I got time to deal with your diva ass? No, I don't. Hit to the back.
Yo, Hector, real quick. I just thought about something. Sorry, you made me laugh with your train thing. You know how he turned down that extension with Washington, right?
Yes.
Where they're looking at like 14, 13 years because he's 24.
Yeah.
We're paying Judge 40.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees, in order just to even get in the ballpark of an extension, I really think they're going to have to tell Soto, all right, we'll give you $600 million for 14 years.
Oof.
That's $40 million a year.
Yeah. I think also, too, if I'm not mistaken, with that a contract extension, I see everybody backstage. Just know I'm going to bring you guys up for the convo. But with the contract extension, the offer he got from Washington, all that money wasn't fully guaranteed. It had like stipulations, like you have to play a certain amount of games. You got to have a certain amount of all-star. It's the same thing with Julio Rodriguez. You see how Julio Rodriguez
incentive laden. Okay.
And Juan Soto's agent was like, no, he's already proved that he's already that guy. You won a World Series with him when he was 19 years old. So that's why he turned down that contract extension from the Nationals. But I agree with you, Ruben. It's going to come in that range of 50 to 500 to 600.
Bro, that's more than $500 million. What the hell?
Bro, this franchise is worth $7 billion. They got the money. $8 billion. They got the money.
No, I know. I'm just like thinking, like, damn, why wasn't I a baseball player?
No, definitely. I wish my big ass was a baseball player and not just talking baseball on YouTube. But I'm gonna bring up the next couple of guys to join in on the conversation. Just hold on momentarily. I'm gonna bring my guy, Mr. Dane Huber, up to the convo. Then I'm gonna bring up Jonathan and then KC Funtime. My guy Dane's in the building.
What's up,
Dane,
guys?
how you doing?
What's up, Dane?
What up, Dane?
Now, if there's anyone that can tap in with us to have the conversation about what the Yankees have to give up for either one of these players, it's my guy, Dane. So, Dane, I'm going to ask you, brother. First of all, great episode with Pete yesterday. Just want to throw that out there. Shout out to you.
Yep.
Keep up the fine work that you're doing, and same thing with Los as well. But I'm going to ask you, who are you leaning more towards, Ohtani and Soto? And when it comes to one of those, who are you giving up for it? What's your package, Dane?
My guy is Soto, and it's not really close. He's 24 years old, and you can build around him for 14 years, 13 years, whatever. He can be the number one player after Judge's contract's up. You're getting a dynasty piece, and he fits everything that we're trying to do, the left-handed, the on-base percentage, the lower strikeouts, the chase rate. He does everything that you want. And you put him in front of Aaron Judge in the lineup, he's going to get fastballs all day, and he's going to crush them. As far as what it's going to cost, who cares? If it costs Dominguez, if it costs Jones, if it costs Warren, if it costs Wells, get it done, because we have Judge on a clock. Once you signed him, and you have to win now. I'm as big a prospect hugger as you're ever going to find. They're on the clock to win World Series championships now with Judge and Cole and Rodon. They need that second hitter. Get it done.
I like that.
Shout out to I just want to give a second.
You heard
Shout
the
out to my
man.
guys, Big Blue in the Bronx, Alex and
What
Luca.
up,
Make
Alex,
sure you
Luca?
support the Twin Bills. Go give them a sub to their channel. And Dane with the mic drop. Also, look at Pete. Pete said it too. Mic drop, Dane. And you're right. When it comes down to Juan Soto and when it comes to these prospects, like I keep saying, if I got to give up my grandmother and her goddamn diabetic toe, I will give up my grandmother for Juan Soto. Get that man in the Bronx. Like I said, the ticket sales will be through the roof. You guys understand the cultural impact Juan Soto will have in this city as a Dominican player on the New York Yankees. The last time the Yankees had a Dominican player as their star, it was Robinson Cano and Alex Rodriguez. And Alex Rodriguez, he grew up in Miami, so he was more Parcheesi tournament than que lo que, if you understand what I'm saying, right?
He was more of the Hialeah guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. He was hanging out with Nestor Cortez's uncles and
At
shit.
305, ya tú sabes.
Exactly. But no, I agree with you, Dane, 100%. I'm gonna bring up Jonathan real quick to join the conversation. Then I'm gonna bring up Casey Fun Time. I'm gonna bring up Jerry. Then I'm gonna bring up Sunil as well to join in on the convo. And we're gonna jump into other topics as well. But I'm gonna bring up my guy Jonathan. He was gone last week. Jonathan, you got to pay penance for not showing up last week, but you're here right now, Jonathan.
Last week I was selling an apartment, so
Listen,
you have to.
Jonathan, if you was in Vegas, you don't got to come up with excuses. Yeah. If you was on, it's fine. You was on the slots, it's cool. Jonathan, Shohei Ohtani,
I'm here now.
Juan Soto, who you going for, Jonathan?
I'm going for Soto, and I would give up the whatever it takes to get Soto. And if you got Soto, I think you can compare this duo to probably. If I were to compare Soto and Judge, I might even have to bring up Ruth and Gillick.
Listen, the idea of Judge and Soto in the lineup, you got to think of it. Judge, he has led Major League Baseball in home runs since 2018. Juan Soto, over the past 6 years of him being in the big leagues, 3 of those seasons he has led Major League Baseball in walks and on-base percentage.
Because imagine if you have a lineup of Soto, Judge, you get Murakami for first base. I don't know if do you think Chaparro could play third base eventually?
Chaparro could play third base, but it's his defense is at Major League average, but a bit under. He's more of a DH than anything.
I have a feeling.
We didn't have Stanton, Chaparro would be the perfect DH. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I have a feeling, and I'm sorry, Hector. I know. I think if they get Murakami, especially if they get Murakami, Chaparro is traded.
Oh yeah. When it comes to Chaparro,
and I know that's your boy.
That's my boy. I love my boy. But I don't think the Yankees value him as high as some of us fans value Andre Chaparro because we're in love with Chappie. We want to see.
But
Chappie
I agree with some of your takes. I think Yankees have to stop prospect hugging and go out and build a real championship team because this team has not been very competitive since 2017 and has not won since 2009.
Yeah.
Nah, definitely 100%. I want to see the Yankees get Juan Soto for in Yankee Stadium for one reason and one reason only. I want to go to Yankee Stadium, eat some spaghetti and some white rice. That's the only reason I want.
The Yankees lineup has to stop being too right-handed.
No, that's
I think in all of the Yankees history, you never won a World Series without 2 lefties in the lineup.
No. You've never the New York Yankees. They never won a World Series with just 1 lefty in the lineup. But also as well, we've always had more than 2 left-handed hitters in our lineup. Whether it was a lefty,
09 was ridiculous.
09 was oh my god! It was switch left right, switch left right.
We had a total of, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2 right-handed hitters.
It was a matchup.
Maybe
nightmare.
3.
It was a matchup nightmare for anybody that wanted to face us. The only right-handers that we had in the lineup, if you think about it, was Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. Everybody was else left-handed or a switch hitter. You had some guys coming off the bench that were right-handed hitters, but besides that, your starting lineup was more lefties and switch hitters than they were right-handed batters, like Ruben said, 100%.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna drop off so that way you can fit everybody else. I'll be listening. One last thing, versus lefty-righty combo. I think that might be one of the best lefty-righty combos since Ortiz and Ramirez. That's
I was
just
I was thinking the same thing. Ruben, just let
Oh,
people
good
know
point. Good
you
point.
and Don
Good call.
Sicario, you guys drop stuff over on NYY News. Felix, you guys I know work with
yes, we
Felix,
do.
but let them know when your next video is going to be out. That way they could be ready for it.
Yeah, we've been planning on recording. I have yet to get with Don today, but I think we might possibly record either today or tomorrow. So I gotta get with Don on that. But yeah, we're about to drop another episode. We gave you actually a shout out on the episode last time. So
I appreciate you, Ruben. You know, always whenever you guys are gonna drop something new, always jump in the chat. Let me know so I can promote it. All right, man, Mano?
gotcha, Papa. And I'll send you a DM so that way you can get the link.
Yes,
Dale.
sir. Thank
Take it
you.
easy,
Wait a second.
Ruben.
Happy Friday, guys.
Be safe,
Brother,
Ruben. Enjoy
take
your
care.
Friday, brother. I'm gonna bring up my guy, Mr. KC Fun Time, real quick, jumping on the conversation. Oh wait, why is it not work? Letting me do it. Here he is, Mr. KC Fun Time. First of all, when you be backstage, right, and you got that that methodical smile that you put on your face, I know you got some gems to drop. So KC, who are you leaning with? Ohtani, Soto, and who you giving up? Fun Time. Go ahead, KC.
Well, I think it's unanimous. I mean, everybody's saying Soto. It makes more sense than Ohtani. He's so young to where he's younger than some of the Yankees' top prospects.
Yeah.
And he's played in the big leagues already. So I agree with Dane and Jonathan. You give up whatever you need to get him because he is a proven all-star player caliber. He's a left-handed bat. He has great at-bats even when he's slumping. He battles. He can play the outfield. He's not, slow or disabled like some of the other guys we have. So it's a win-win, I think. Even if you give up guys that aren't proven in the major leagues, he's gonna impact your team. And like everyone's saying, the Judge Soto combo, come on, how can you do better than that?
Yeah, no, I listen, Casey. It's hard to argue against what you just said because you're right. When you think about the idea of Soto and Judge in a lineup, like Ruben said, it makes you think about Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, right?
Yep.
Over the past, if you think about it, over the past 50 years, there was never a more fair duo than Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz. TC,
Yep.
I'm gonna throw it over to you, and then unpopular opinion. What's your thoughts, real quick, on Casey's Fun Times point before I bring up Jerry and Sunil? Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it off the air all the time. I mean, it just makes sense. But the Yankees don't have common sense. I mean, he's a generational talent, and you can't pass up on something like that. You'll have him for 10, 12 years. I don't know about going 14 years, but at least 10 years so we can, go through his career with Judge. I mean, and we can put pieces behind him, around him. Why would you not want that combination? It's just he's young, like Casey said. He's younger than some of our top prospects. So and we don't develop. We've proven that on this show, at Pete's show. We don't develop our players well.
This goes right. This is the proof right here. What more proof do you need?
You
Since
blocked me out.
2010, we've been last in wins above replacement. I'm sorry, TT. I apologize.
I like that graph.
I didn't mean to block out that pretty face of yours.
Do I need to
go
to another show? Hey, another show's calling me. Okay. No, so you can't pass that up, and it's a no-brainer. You got to get if that's a possibility. I don't even know if the Padres are willing to do it right now. They might just hang on to him. But come on, it's a no-brainer.
Nah, I'm in 100% agreement with you, TC, as well. We got 35 people in the building. If you guys can run up the like button, we are sitting on 42 likes right now. If you haven't smacked that like button, smack that like button. Let's try to run it up to 50 likes on the stream. Pop, let me get your takes real quick on what KC said. Matter of fact, hold on, Pop, 1 second. D-Rod, I'm sorry, you put your hand up.
Sorry, I apologize. I agree with the TC, what Ruben and TC, just piggyback on that. Most likely if you sign Soto to 10, 12 years, whatever it is, there's going to be at least one opt-out easily, right? Because everyone has an opt-out. So it could be when he's 30, because if they sign him, he's going to be 26. So if it's a 4 or 5 year, maybe in the second or third year, fourth or fifth year, who knows? and then maybe he leaves because in 5 years, Stanton will be gone, this will be gone, maybe Soto will be the main guy with Judge, and everyone else is gone. But who knows? He may only be here for 5 years, or he may opt out depending on what it is.
You offer him that 10, 12-year deal, and after 5, 6, you give him that opt-out so he could go into free agent and try to recoup or re-up that deal. Pop, what's your thoughts real quick before I bring up the next 2 guys for the open panel?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I agree with everyone here in the panel. Juan Soto is the obvious choice. Just remember, he's 24 years old. Most people say most players don't hit their prime to 26. So you're not even seeing the best of Juan Soto, what he can be.
Right.
And we have so many years in front of us than behind him. So he's a no-brainer. I'll keep it at that. Everyone I agree with. And, you do what you got to do to get the guy.
Copy. All right, I want to bring up the next 2 guys for the panel. I got Jerry Cadill backstage. Big time, Jerry. How you feeling, Jerry?
Good morning. You got the pot going of coffee?
I gotta go. I gotta go. Jerry, I got one question I want to ask you before you go off real quick about this trade conversation. Right now, when you saw that the Yankees added that patch to their jersey, did you throw a rock at a bird or a dog? Who did you target when you saw that and your frustrations with the patch that the Yankees put on the jersey? How are you feeling?
No, I can't throw a rock because I'm liable to break a window in my house. That's the kind of luck I have. So I wouldn't be throwing any rocks.
No, but Jerry, I appreciate you jumping onto the open panel. Jumping into the conversation, Ohtani or Juan Soto, who are you eyeing, Jerry? Because I've seen you in Pete's chat and other chats, but who are you eyeing? Who you want the Yankees to get, Jerry?
Ohtani is going to be $600 million, $300 for a pitcher, $300 for a DH. I love the conversation having Rodon, Garrett Cole, and Ohtani. Unbelievable. You'll never have a better pitching staff than that. But it's the days of Satchel Paige. He pitches and there's nobody in the outfield because he was that good of a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I go with
remember that?
Soto. No brainer. Soto, 24 years old, already a championship ring. He can run, steal bases. He walks a lot. I mean, what else do you want in a guy? And you've got him, 8 years?
And also, too, Jerry, you're someone that, when it comes to the different Yankee championship windows, the times that they won championships in the late 90s, the 70s, the 50s and 60s, you were somebody that was able to actually watch and enjoy that. But at the same time, each one of those eras that the Yankees were winning championship, did they have only one superstar or did they have multiple superstars, Jerry?
You're going back in the 70s now, like with Luke Piniella?
70s, because if you think of it, the 50s, the Yankees didn't just have Mickey Mantle; they had more than just Mickey Mantle.
Oh yeah,
right?
Roger Maris.
Exactly.
Roger Maris was able to hit all those home runs.
Maris,
he was in front of Mantle.
Exactly. Yeah. So also, when you look at the 50s, they had Roger Maris, you had Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, all these other superstars. Then when you get to the 70s, you had Thurman Munson, you had Reggie Jackson. Then you get to the late 90s, you got Jeter, you got Posada, you got
Warrior.
There's
Paul
never
O'Neill.
been Paul O'Neill. The Yankees have never, when they won championships, right? That window of winning championships, they've never done it with only one superstar, right? They've never done it with only one. They've had multiple superstars sprinkled around average major league players.
Right.
They've never built a team around one player. There's only one team over the past 20 years that has done that did that, and that was the San Francisco Giants and Barry Bonds, and they ain't win no championships.
Right. And they lost to the Angels in 2002.
Yeah, they choked, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, his protection in that lineup for years was Jeff Kent, was Richard Aguilar. That was his protection, and he was still hitting 60 home runs.
They were average players. They weren't above average.
They walked
players.
bases
Kent
loaded.
was good. Kent was a good hitter, good contact.
Kent
hitter.
was a very good player.
But I wouldn't call him a superstar.
No, I wouldn't call Jeff Kent a superstar. And also too, I think Jeff Kent, he finished second in MVP, or he won an MVP as Barry Bonds' teammate, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But if you sit back and think of it, they wasted Barry Bonds' prime because they had no other players around him. And that's what I don't want the New York Yankees to do with Aaron Judge. Do not waste this man's prime. Get another superstar in Juan Soto. You lengthen the lineup. Imagine the amount of pitches that Juan Soto, just hold it. The first inning alone, 1, 2, and 3 hitters. The amount of pitches that starting pitcher would throw trying to get through the Yankees 1, 2, and 3.
Look at our leadoff hitters. We've had Bauer, we've had DJ, Volpe. There's no one set guy like they did with Chuck Knobloch and Derek Jeter up front. Even back when they had Mickey Rivers. But I think Aaron Boone is in the dugout throwing a dot. And wherever name comes up, that's going to be the leadoff hitter. Will doesn't have any set lineup.
Yeah. Spin the wheel.
Yeah, spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. That's exactly what he's doing to figure out who's going to be the Yankees leadoff hitter that day. But I want to bring up someone else in the conversation real quick. This is the last person I got here for the open panel. I'm going to bring up my guy, Mr. Sunil. Mr. Sunil. How you doing, brother?
Sunil, what's good, bud?
What's up, Sunil?
One other thing is that.
Hold on, Jonathan. Give me 1 second. I want to get Sunil, and I'll throw it over to you right after Sunil, Jonathan. Go ahead, Sunil. You've been listening to the conversation. Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani. Who do you want?
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go out and get Shohei Ohtani. Not Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto.
First of all, I saw that movie last night, and I'm telling you this like this. I wish that I knew that movie was 3 hours long, right? Because I went to go see that movie at around like 10:30, and I didn't get out till about like 1 o'clock in the morning. Go ahead, Sunil.
So there's two schools of thought, and neither one is particularly wrong. Because let's go back to a little bit of modern day Yankee history. A guy we got in 2003, Godzilla, Hideki Matsui. At the age of 28 or 29, he became a Yankee. Jonathan, you were on this conversation in Pinstripe Podcast.
Yeah.
He left us at the age of maybe 36, 37 after the 2009.
35, I think. 35.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So he stayed with us 7 seasons. And the whole frame of reference is out there about players on the wrong side of 30. I will just say this to that point. Domestic players on the wrong side of 30 versus Asian and international-born players on the wrong side of 30. I'm tending to think, from what I've seen as a small sample set, the Asian-born players or the international-born players on the elder side of 30 tend to be having a little different fitness regime than what some of the domestic players do. And that basically is what keeps their careers going longer. See Matsui, see Ichiro for reference. Ichiro ended up with more career hits combined in MLB and Japanese baseball than Pete Rose did for his entire career, 4,000 something hits. So basically, neither one is wrong, is what I'm trying to say. My only concern is two-way players. As you get older, this is the first time we're seeing this since the roof days. All right? And so for our modern-day game, two-way players will probably deteriorate your body a lot quicker. So if you do go get Ohtani, you got to basically persuade him to do one or the other, is my point. That would be my one concern.
Yeah.
And if
And that's what and that's the concern that sticks out when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, because you got to think of it like this: if Shohei Ohtani, if he gets injured, knock on wood, and he lands on the IL for an extended period of time, not only are you losing one of your best hitters in your lineup, you're also losing one of your best starting pitchers in your rotation.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword. It's too much of a gamble. Like I said, he is an amazing player. Shohei Ohtani will probably go down as the best the best player to ever play this sport, being able to dominate as a starting pitcher and a position player. But it's too much of an investment and a risk to put all your chips in Shohei Ohtani, because like I said, if he gets injured for an extended period of time, not only will Judge be out the lineup, but Garrett Cole will be out the lineup at the same time. Just look at it like that. Just look at it from that perspective, right?
Yeah.
If you're the Yankees right now, can you afford losing Judge and Garrett Cole from your team at the same time. You can't. You can't afford that.
That's $70 million nearly on the IL. It's like what 76
exactly,
million.
Sunil. Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to bring up another topic, and I want to throw it around to the table real quick. Throw it around to the panel because we are about to start the Yankees' second half of the season. So I want to start it off the conversation with that. The Yankees' second half is here. Hold on, let me just. Why is it not coming up on the screen? Give me 1 second.
Hector, while you're bringing it up, I just wanted to add one more.
Go ahead, Sunil.
Yeah. So basically, if you're trying to make a very strong case for Soto and you want to make that trade, I would try to add an additional piece to that trade and one Mr. Blake Snell to basically balance out your starting rotation. You have Cole, Rodon, and you have Snell, and you got Herman. So righty lefty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
now I
like
want to bring this up. Like I said, Yankees' second half of the season is about to start. My guy Sean on Twitter. This is one thing I want to say, and I'm gonna throw it over to TC. Unpopular opinion, and I'm gonna get D-Rod, Dane, Jonathan, Sunil, Jerry, and KC. My guy Sean said it's possible the Yankees can reach the postseason. It's possible they can win their division, and it's possible that they can win the World Series. It's also possible that they could tank. That's why you play the game. Good luck to the Yankees when it comes to the second half of the season. TC, I'm going to throw it over to you. When it comes to your predictions for the second half of the season, what are your expectations? What are your predictions? What do you think this team will do in the second half?
Yeah, it's also possible I could win the lottery. But what's the odds on that?
As long as you share a little bit with me, that's all I care about.
Everybody would get it. But no, seriously, a lot of things have to go right. They have to change their approach at the plate, and that starts with Sean Casey. The hitters that are counted upon, like the Stantons, the LeMahieu's, the Rizzos, the Gleyber, Torres, and they have to live up to expectations, and they have not. They have all been awful this year. Also, we have to have Aaron Judge back. If Judge doesn't come back, that goes down probably 50% that they make the playoffs. And also, it's going to take a move. So we don't know what kind of move they're going to make. Are they going to go out and get a Soto or Ohtani, or are they just going to go out and get this a Benintendi type guy that just patches up one little spot and it doesn't move the needle, as to say. We need to. All of these things have to go right. I'm not even mentioning the pitching. What if somebody goes down? I mean, we're relying on Rodon and Cole pretty much, and Herman. So we got some guys coming back. We got Montas maybe in September. Maybe Nestor comes back late August. So a lot of these things have to go our way in order for this to happen. And at this point, I'm thinking they have to go like 47-24 in the second half in order to make a playoff appearance. And honestly, what I've seen in the first half, I don't see that happening. So I don't know. It's going to take a lot.
Pop, same question going your way. What's your expectations for the second half, and what's reality for you when it comes to this team?
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I say the Yankees are going to go ahead and win the division. I have faith that Sean Casey's going to come in and is going to light a fire under these guys. He's too personable. He knows too much about hitting. And, Eric Kratz said this yesterday that he thinks that, Dylan Lawson probably did the philosophy and stuff like that didn't really change. And, the Yankees started off really hot last season. And it was really the adjustments that he couldn't adjust to like the major leagues. And I think that's where Sean Casey will come in, that he knows how to adjust. And he knows what it takes to be a big league player year after year after year. So I have faith that he might actually turn this thing around and these guys can get hot. And like just TC said, it's really all going to depend on health, right? It's really going to depend on Aaron Judge coming back. And then we're going to need a couple, like one or two big pieces at the deadline to help solidify and gel this thing all together, with the getting rid of Donaldson and possibly bringing up a Peraza and injecting some youth and some life into this. And you know what? If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago if the Yankees could win a division, I'll tell you hell no. But teams have slowed down down. The only one that's really hot in our division is Boston. So it's up for grabs. And I don't want to quote boom, but I'm gonna do it. It's right in front of them. So they just got to go out and handle business. So I'm gonna go on a limb. They're gonna win a division.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about, Pop. D-Rod. Now, D-Rod, you got some pressure, right? Because Pop just dropped the bomb, right? You got some pressure to follow up unpopular opinion. D-Rod, the floor is yours. What's your expectations for the second half, my brother?
Wow. Well, that's a ballsy ass prediction there. That's tough to follow. Wow. I mean, first of all, I got to say, I'm watching Pete kill LI about some trades and during cold water.
Oh,
so
I'm dying. I'm
laughing. I needed it for a second. Yeah. And last night I watched, no kidding. Last night I watched Dane and Pete about the farm show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, I'm so, it was like being in lecture hall in college, because I was just taking notes. This guy, that guy, Drew Thorpe, this guy. And I was like, after the hour, I was like, please trade some of these guys so I don't have to remember these guys' names, because there's so many damn names to remember. And they're all great players. But, in terms of the second half, my thing is, Sean Casey, I think, he's a new employee, right? Baseball's a little different, but he's a new employee. If I told you, Hector, hey, do this to your channel, do that, do this, you'd be like, be my last time on the show, right? So, Casey's got to be, he's got to come in and do his job, but he's still going to get the lineup. The lineup's going to be the same. It's just how they're hitting when they're in the position in that lineup. You're a hitting coach. You're not the bench coach. You're not the manager. You're not this. So you got to be. Let's temper our expectations for him. I mean, he's fantastic. Like I said, he's a I love you man, and that's me. The Presidente it's already past 12 o'clock. The Presidente is already calling me. So
that's a fact.
So watch at 4 o'clock. But get yanked. You see, I'll be loving a whole bunch of people in a couple hours. So. But my thing is Sean Casey. What can he do? And I don't want everyone to go, well, they're bad, they're hitting the same, and I think someone mentioned you got to give people, give them, 15, 20 games, give them to the trade deadline and see, hey, how are they doing? How's that working out for them? But that's what I'm focusing more on in the second, in the second half.
No, but that's realistic though. You got to give them guys some time, and that's why hiring Sean Casey right now was the perfect time, because it's July 14th right now. The trade deadline is April 1st. That's literally 2.5 weeks to see if these guys on this roster, they can switch it up before the trade deadline comes and goes. Dane, my man, pots and pans. Question is on you. The floor is yours, Dane. When it comes to the Yankees in the second half, what are your expectations and what's reality for you, Dane? Go ahead, brother.
Well, expectations are dependent on what they do as far as moves. If they bring up Oswalt Peraza and put him at third base, that makes the lineup better. I think Ben Rortvedt needs to be the other half of a catching tandem, whether that's Trevi or Higgy, that adds another left-hand bat that's performing well. But they got to make a move. Do they go get a Soto? I don't know if Brian Cashman has the stomach for that. I think Bellinger is the more likely move. Mm-hmm. But you get Bellinger, Peraza, and Rortvedt in that lineup. That's a good start.
Yep.
And as far as the pitching goes, I know everybody's not high on Frankie Montas. I'm on the West Coast. I watched him a lot when he was with the Oakland A's. He's a lot better pitcher than we saw. He was hurt last year. If he comes back and healthy, he is a very good number 3, number 4 starter for us. Mm-hmm. You got Jonathan Loaisiga coming back in the bullpen. That's a big arm back there. And when he's on, he is very, very good. You have Luis Gil coming back. Whether he fits in the rotation or the bullpen, he's got the stuff to impact that pitching staff right away. Mm-hmm. You have Nestor coming back. You have tons and tons of pitching in the system, but they have to make a move to get a big left-hand bat or they're not going anywhere. And if they do the right things, I think they have a really strong shot in the playoffs. I don't think they win the division, but I think the playoffs with the pitching, I think they have a shot, but that's my expectation for the second half.
The great points. Yeah. And what you bring up about Frankie Montas is something I've been preaching for the longest. I know some people on Twitter was making fun of me, but in September, Frankie Montas, if he comes back and like Dane said, if he's 80% of what he was when he was in Oakland, and that's your number 3 or 4 starter in a playoff series, you're setting yourself up for something special if he's able to come through. Jonathan, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Same question, my brother. What's your expectations and what's reality for you when it comes to this team in the second half? The floor is yours, Jonathan. Go ahead, baby.
Well, my expectation, my hope is that they bring up what's the player Peraza, and he starts playing in the infield every day. I hope that they would make a trade regarding surrounding Gleyber Torres. I don't see Gleyber Torres being on this team past this year. I think Gleyber Torres is gone. They have too many infielders in the minors. So I would expect a trade for either a pitcher or a left fielder surrounded by Gleyber Torres.
Jonathan, just hold that thought 1 second, right? I just want to shout out someone that's in the chat. Shout out my brother, Mr. Worldwide Mayberry, who's in the chat. My guy, Worldwide L. If you guys don't know, this is my brother from the first show that I ever started on YouTube, For the Love of the Game. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Worldwide Mayberry. And if you guys can, go make sure you guys support them over there. They're at 429 subs. Well, I mean, they're at 929 subs. We at 920 subs. We are all on the grind to 1K. Shout out to my brother Worldwide L that's in the chat. Go ahead, Jonathan. Go ahead. My fault, bro.
Well, as I said, I don't see this. I honestly don't see Gleyber Torres on this team past the trade deadline. And I don't think they have even a position for him next year. Starting next year, where do you see Gleyber Torres on this team?
No, you're right. You're right. If the idea is to bring up Peraza and have him play second base, what are you going to do with Gleyber Torres? So you got to try to get something out of him.
You don't have so if you can get a package with Gleyber Torres for either a left fielder or a starting pitcher, I would make that trade. I don't know who. I don't know what that trade looks like. Maybe Dane has a better idea because he's more of an expert on the farm system. I'll ask the question to you. Do you see any package surrounding with Gleyber Torres for either a left fielder or a starting pitcher?
Listen, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead. I mean,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think that they wait to trade Gleyber till this winter. Honestly, there's too many other holes, and he's been our second most productive hitter. I am not a fan of signing Gleyber long term because of all the talent in the system. If you get a good offer for him, I think you take it. But I think that they'll probably wait till this winter. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, that's exactly my point. The fact that we have so many infielders is the reason why we should consider trading Torres.
Absolutely.
No. I agree with you. Well, Pop, you wanted to jump in real quick before I throw it over to Snell? Go ahead.
I'm good, brother. Let's get around this.
That was me.
I'm sorry, D-Rod. I'm sorry, D-Rod. You want to make a point?
I was going to say,
my fault.
Yeah, I was going to say to what Jonathan was saying, and to Dane, it's the same thing. Like, my heart wants Torres out of here yesterday, but my brain says we need him. You know, and to what Jonathan was saying. Hey, I think next year, if you trade Torres, so Dane was saying, if you trade Torres in the offseason, you can take Volpe, who projects more as a second baseman, and put him over there. Peraza, I think, is a better shortstop. I mean, naturally, he's got shortstop and a third baseman. So if you do that, that's a great thing, and then get whatever you can in the offseason. And and also, if right now, if you trade Torres in the deadline, maybe DJ plays second base because he's got experience. And I think that's your second baseman, because if you don't, because then if you have Peraza at second and Volpe at short, you've got two rookies in your middle infield, and that's a little dicey, towards the stretch run, towards the playoff run. So,
I agree with you on that.
The fact that you have two rookies keeps your payroll low, and therefore you have more money if you want to trade for Soto.
No. Listen, you're making valid points. I want to throw it over to Sunil, Jerry, and Casey and get them in on the conversation. Sunil, I'm going to throw it over to you. You've been listening to the convo. So when it comes to the second half of this team, what's your expectation and what's reality? Go ahead, Sunil, and then throw it over to Jerry and then Casey before we got to get out of here.
Hitting coach. Sean Casey's voice is heard. That's going to be a first for the Yankees front office. They're going to actually listen to their coaches. Second, trading Gleyber Torres. This is something the Yankees probably wish they would have done with Robinson Cano back in 2014 or 13, whenever that was. He was asking for some 200, some ridiculous figure at that time. Yankees countered with 175 for 6, 7, or 8, whatever it was.
7.
Yeah, okay, yeah, 7. I see the same thing happening if the Yankees wait out with Gleyber Torres at the end of this year. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to want Cano-type money or the projected Cano-type money with some sort of inflation padded onto it for whatever the modern-day numbers come out to. He's not going to get it. The Yankees should trade him for that reason and that reason alone.
Yeah, I don't see the Yankees giving him nowhere coming close to what Robinson Cano got.
I don't see
Definitely
him
not
getting
6 years or $100 million. Definitely not getting the $100 million from the Yankees.
And especially with the mental errors and agita he provides for Yankee fans. Come on, yeah.
So Sunil, do the Yankees make the postseason?
Yes.
Okay. Got wild card or the division?
The Rays are falling. This is going to be the 21st century, 1978.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Let's see. Jerry.
Yes,
you
sir.
you was out in the clubs in 78. You feel me? I heard stories about you, Jerry. So when it comes to this team in the second half, what's your expectation and what's reality for you, big time?
Okay, first things first. There's a rumor going out. Next year they're going to have the Golden Arches patch on the other arm.
That's funny. I like that one.
They get $100 million for that.
I agree with TC. We're not going to win 50 games. That's out of sight. Maybe 46, 47 wins could do it. 71 games to play. If it was 78, like Sunil says, the Yankees in mid-July, they were 14 games out. They came back on September 7th, 4 games out with a 4-game series with the Red Sox at Fenway Park. They destroyed the Red Sox.
Boston
21
Massacre.
hits, 18 hits. They destroyed them. It was the Boston Massacre. And then they were tied. And then, of course, they went into the playoffs, the 1-game playoffs with Bucky Dent.
Bucky bleeping Dent.
Oh, yeah. I don't even say that.
Yastrzemski will not get it.
That was a good one, TC. That was a good one.
And we won the World Series.
All right. Okay. All right. Listen, everybody's pointed out that the Tampa Bay Rays are falling, right, Jerry? So I'm going to ask you, Jerry, before I throw it over to KC. Do you think the Yankees, we catch the Tampa Bay Rays in the second half of the season? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. Tampa Bay was playing so great of baseball, and they've fallen. So it's possible. I believe
Tampa Bay will be this
correct.
year's Yankees.
It could be
Okay.
correct.
Dane, you got something that you wanted to add real quick before I throw it over to KC? Go ahead, Dane.
Yeah, just when it comes to the Rays, you're going to hear a lot in the next coming days about them trying to trade for Ohtani. No, seriously, as a pure rental, they want him because they haven't won championship, they have a farm system, and they have the team this year to win. So they are looking to rent him and put him in the lineup.
If the Rays want Ohtani, they're probably going to get him because they have the strongest farm system.
That's a wrap, boys.
Yeah, that's a when it comes to the Rays, I don't think they won. When it comes to the Rays, they don't have the money to keep Shohei Ohtani for years.
No, it would be a pure rental. It's a pure rental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just for 3 months, and they'll let him walk after the season.
Yes, that is what I was told.
Okay, all right, KC, I'm gonna throw it over to you, brother. When it comes to the Yankees, the expectations for this second half of the season, what's your thoughts, brother, and what's reality for you? Go ahead, KC.
Expectations are they make the playoffs, yes. But in order to do that, they do need to make some moves. They need to revamp this offense. hopefully in the second half with Casey on board, they have some consistency with the lineup. It's more steady, not this analytic driven lineup where they're moving guys from 1 to 2 to 6 to 7. They need a consistent lineup, 1 to 9. I would like to see some acquisitions, not just one, but multiple. Also including DFA and Donaldson, get him out.
Yes.
Put somebody at third solid,
Number one.
whether that be, a rookie, LeMahieu, or a trade, whatever it may be, but they need to make some changes. Last year, second half, with Judge, they went 35 and 35, 500 ball club. So, I mean, in order to make the playoffs, they need to do way better than that. They need to have, like TC said, probably 45, 47 wins. And that is going to be tough with what we've seen in the first half. So a dramatic change has to happen with this lineup, and they need to score runs in order to win games. But I'm really disappointed because they missed a golden opportunity right before the half to gain ground on Tampa. Tampa went 3-7 their last 10 games. And Yankees missed. They could have gained 5 games easily on Tampa, and they missed a golden opportunity. So in the second half, they cannot miss those opportunities. They need to gain ground when Tampa loses, and Baltimore to make the playoffs. So
facts. And Dane just put something in the chat when it comes to Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones, he's striking out close to 35% of the time. That has to go down before any conversations of him being promoted to AA. And I definitely agree with that, Dane. Sunil, I want to throw it over to you because I saw you had your hand up real quick. We're about to get ready to close this out. So anybody who want to give their last takes, just raise your hand and we'll get the last takes in there. Go ahead, Sunil. Start off with you first.
I'm just feeling positive right now. Like I've rewatched Rocky IV right from the point of the Russian fight beyond round 3. The Russians cut. The Russian is the Rays. Rocky Balboa is the Yanks. All bets are off after that point. You saw what happened when it went to full 12. That's it.
Hey, listen, Rocky IV is one of my favorite movies of all time as well, right? Anybody else on the panel? Any last thoughts before we get out of here, fellas? Jonathan, you want to say something before we go?
I think if Judge comes back healthy and hits the way he hits before, we also have a good chance of making a strong run into the postseason.
Okay. All right.
Also, if Nestor Cortez comes back and pitches like he did last year, that gives me a lot of hope.
Dane, last words before we get out of here, brother?
Oh, I didn't mention Judge. If Judge doesn't come back, we have no shot. So
we need Judge. If we don't get Judge, the other thing I will add, if the Yankees
what does that say about the team?
If the Yankees know Judge is not going to come back this year, they need to basically break it down and get pieces for next year if they can.
Agree.
Agreed.
I don't want them to try for this year when they don't have Judge.
D-Rod, go ahead, brother.
False hope, basically.
If Judge doesn't come back, whether he's back or not, if the Yankees just kind of squeak in as the 6th seed, I think they play the 3rd seed, which will most likely be the AL Central winner, either Cleveland or Minnesota. And look at the history. If it's Minnesota, look at the history we have with or without Judge anyway. I mean, so that's a little silver lining, just something to keep hope on. Just a little bit. Because if it's Minnesota, well, at least we should get past that round, at least.
I agree with you on that. Jerry, any last words before we get out of here, Jerry? And I'll throw it over to Casey for his last words as well.
Just like Casey says, we have to have a different formula. If it's going to continue like this, it was a bad omen, the game just before the All-Star break.
Yes.
Gleyber threw that game for us. The doors were open, and the Cubs should have never won that game. And then our pitching bullpen imploded. And so that was a bad omen. So I'm a microcosm of what things
I'm right there with you, Jerry. Don't get mad and don't throw no rocks in your house. We don't need you breaking windows, Jerry. All right? We don't need that.
It's costly.
KC, any last words before we get out of here? Then I'll throw it over to Sunil, TC, and Pop, and we close it out. Go ahead, KC.
Yeah, I just want to touch on Jonathan made a good point about Gleyber. I know he's been one of the most productive hitters in the first half for the lineup, but this is when you maximize the value for him. And if you can get equally talent production from an outfielder, what they really need, then it's a win-win. So I don't know, but I like his thought process.
Yeah.
But the talk of the big names of Soto and Ohtani are always the topic of discussion come trade deadline. But I know how the Yankees are very hush-hush, and don't be surprised if some other moves come out of nowhere and happen. So
Agree. Sunil, and then I get I get TC and Unpop, and we out of here.
Call me uber optimistic, if you will. But
Uber optimistic.
I feel like the Judge story in 2023 is kind of akin to the 1996 David Cohn aneurysm. There was next to no hope for him to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm holding some level of optimistic, feel, even though people like Dane, who I respect dearly, are probably, countering otherwise. I agree. There's an equal shot there. I'm counting on a less than 50% chance, which is about equal to what Cohn was for that time, on his chances to come back. He pitched a masterful game. What was it, 3 in '96 in the World Series to get us back at least in the winning side before Kenny Rogers basically imploded in Game 4, but Jimmy Lawrence rescued his ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Why'd you got to do that for, bro? I just asked Jerry not to throw any rocks in his house. You gonna say that? Did you get him upset? Are you kidding me, Sunil? Yeah, TC, I want to throw it over to you and get popular opinions, last thoughts before we get out of here. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, I just want to thank Unpopular, D-Rod, Dane, Jonathan, Sunil, Big Time Jerry, Casey for all your takes. Don't forget Pete, he was on earlier. Thank you guys for keeping the conversation going. You guys make the channel. I mean, it's a pleasure having you guys all on Friday. Go Yankees. Second half.
Facts.
Let's do it.
Facts.
Let's do it.
Pop, last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm just trying to digest what Dane said. Ray is trying to get Ohtani. That changes everything. But, hopefully, I think Judge is going to be back regardless to what version of Judge we're going to get. That's the only question.
Right.
Nah, definitely.
I
Appreciate
we got a game today.
Yes.
Let's get it, folks.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like TC said, appreciate all you guys on the panel. My guy Pop, he's working with the team. He's just came aboard this week. He's helping us out when it comes to clips that we could share on social. Shout out to D-Rod, Dane, Jonathan, my guy Sunil, Big Time Jerry, and KC Funtime. Always contributing well on Fridays. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Sean Brownland, Lorenzo Cardona, L.I. Yankee King, even though sometimes we want to give him a wedgie. But we appreciate everybody for showing up. My guy Anthony Garcia. Like always, peace out. And remember, September 23rd, get your tickets for the Audi Suites and get your tickets for Sucker Punch Bar and Lounge. I'm going to play the outro video, and we out of here, baby. Deuces.
Knock it out of the park.
Quieres más, echa pa' acá, te quiero ver bailar. Se puede ver que no temas nada. Si tú te tiras, yo me tiro. 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 Si tú te tiras, me tiro. Envidian por su estilo. Todo estaba tranquilo, pero llegaste sola al partido. Y baby, no me voy de aquí sin ti. Todo lo que estás sintiendo lo quiero sentir. Tu enojo, tu coraje, como llegaste aquí. Cantando que la ni, baby, dámela a mí. Por la T-Dress, joven por la T-Dress. Hop in the phantom, Wazzy y dress. Si quieres, pues nos vamos donde quieras, bebé. Me gusta como hablas, tiene un lindo base en brasilera. Ven y navega.